kuti nyika isiwe vanhu vangu inguva yedu hatingatadzi kubudirira Mwari ari parutivi pedu rambai muchirwa 'Cause my hitters gon' die, don't die, and real hitters gon' shine, and my people gon' rise. Cause we're born to win, yeah. I ain't saying
But the hell do I not have a deal? I swear this thing is a real dog. I play fan off, the cowards so they can't feel. The wife try to console me like it's coming, baby, chill. She don't understand. I'm the only one that's real. I remember the 3rd grade. Them kids, they had waves. I had them BDBs. You know that Zimbabwean grade. So they do shades. And your boy hit the stage, press play, and all the chicks was like, yeah. While boys was moving bricks, I was moving chips. Yeah. If she gave me calculus, gave her a mouthful of it. Heat rose to this thing, boy, I bet on myself.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I want to welcome you to a great, fantastic What's the Word Wednesday. I got some amazing guests in the building. Of course, I get to tap in and hear from Brian Callanan about what's going down at Seattle Hall and what he has going on with Seattle Channel. And then I also am going to be tapping in with TDUB. Takiyah Ward is in the building. My good sis. We're going to be talking all about Garfield Superblock and what they have going on. An amazing opportunity for artists. So I can't wait to dive in with her. And at the end of the show, I get to tap in with my new bro, Gerael Patterson is in the building from Rich Bag Members. He's going to be telling us all about RBM, what they have going on as a company, and some of the work he's been doing in community. So, of course, I want to invite you to an amazing show, and it's the top of the show, everyone. So it's a perfect time to tag and share the stream. Go ahead, y'all. Thank you for tagging and sharing the stream, and sending this out to folks you feel could benefit from a daily dose of dopeness right here on The Day with Trae. If you can't watch us, you can always listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network and The Day with Trae. I promise y'all will find me on Google, Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, you name it, anywhere you find your favorite podcast, just search us and you'll find us there. Well, since we have such a jam-packed show, I want to get right into it. Brian wasn't able to be in studio with us today, but as always, he made sure that we are hearing from him on this wonderful Wednesday. Check it out.
Hey, Trae, I wanted to make sure that I let you know what was going on Seattle News, Views, and Brews tonight at 7 o'clock right here on Converge. I'm sorry I'm not able to join you in person, but there's a ton going on with this show. I'm back with my co-host, David Croman, the transportation reporter from the Seattle Times, and we're covering a lot of different ground. Specifically, we're talking about what's happening with the state legislature. It is starting up this year. There's a lot to consider there, including a plan from the governor that I think I mentioned to you earlier, where he's talking about investing $4 billion into housing and homelessness. That could require a ballot measure that voters would have to pass. The legislature has to look at that and see what they're going to do with that. So there's some issues there when it comes to the state legislature, what they're working on there. Also, we've got lawmakers talking about this Blake decision. You might remember back in 2021, the state Supreme Court actually struck down our state's felony drug possession law. So there's some fixes that need to happen with that. There's actually a deadline of July to talk about that. So legislators definitely on the march towards that issue there. There's another issue when it comes to banning assault weapons. They're talking about that. They're talking about codifying Roe v. Wade into the state constitution. So a ton going on there as well. There's another issue locally that the Seattle City Council is talking about this week that I thought was very important. This is something that's going on in the Public Safety and Human Services Committee. They're talking about flooding that has happened in the South Park neighborhood. And this one's really interesting because there is actually still some Office of Emergency Management folks from the city of Seattle that are still on the scene in South Park after we had that king tide and all those rains that happened at the end of December, on December 27th. The issue is now, you might have seen the weather forecast, we're expecting some more heavy rains here, not only including this week, but the end of this month as well, when those tides will be back too. So what the city is doing is trying to put in some temporary things like some berms, sandbags, things of this nature, but they're also looking in the long term about what's going on at South Park, because this is something that when you talk about climate change, those with ocean levels rising, those waters are going to continue to rise around South Park. So they're looking for something a little bit more permanent there so they can help out the communities that live there. And this is very important because there are a number of communities of color that live there, including the Khmer community, and they were deeply affected by this. So the city is trying to figure out a way to make sure that they can offer some sort of environmental equity to that area, because unfortunately, you might know this one too, Trae, this is an area here in South Park where people have shorter lifespans, they get sicker more often. This happens in the Rainier neighborhood too. So this is something where the city is really trying to take a look at trying to make sure that they're offering some environmental equity really to everybody in Seattle, and they're focusing on South Park to do it. So there's a ton going on Seattle News, Views, and Brews. Those are just two of the topics here, but make sure you check it out at 7 o'clock tonight on Converge. And Trae, have a blessed day. Talk to you later. Bye.
As always, so great to hear from you, Brian. Thanks so much for making time in your busy schedule. Make sure you guys do tune in tonight on Seattle News, Views, and Brews. Man, Brian, once you get back in the studio, we got to talk all about this because the legislative session is going down, started on Monday, and all people are talking about is that $4 billion for homelessness. We'll see how it shapes up as legislative session continues. But thank you so much. Make sure you guys check out Brian and David Croman tonight, 7 p.m. on Seattle News, Views, and Brews right here on Converge Media. Well, I get to tap in with my girl, Takiyah TDUB Ward. What up, TDUB?
What's going on, Trae?
Hey,
how you doing? It's been a minute.
No, it's been too long, my friend. Look,
So
we used to do our Feel Good Friday segment.
Man.
We would coordinate our outfits. Didn't even know we was doing it. I missed you. How have you been?
I've been great. I miss you too. Life is good. I'm happy to be here with you.
Yeah, well, you are always so invested in the arts community right here throughout Seattle and beyond. Tell us a bit about some of the work you've been doing in community. I know this Garfield Super Block, it looks like this is really shaping up, and it's great to see that it's moving forward. Tell us a bit about it.
Absolutely. So for those who don't know, I am one of the art lead coordinators for the Garfield Super Block project. This is a project that's a legacy project for the Central District area. Our steward, our leader, Mr. Robert Stevens, has been trying to get this project underway for well over a decade. We are finally getting to the point where things are starting to take shape. I have been brought on as art lead coordinator. And so what that looks like is helping to facilitate the art plan, the curation of the art. We are constructing a arts promenade, legacy and promise promenade that will extend around the circumference of the play field. And that is a really, really big deal. We are bringing together several cultures to represent essentially the settlement of the land that we know as the Central District. So this is a really, really huge project. There's a lot going on. We want to make sure the community is in the know about what's going on with Garfield Super Block.
Yeah, I think so many of us have known Garfield to be just that space, growing up in the CD. That was where, the CD Panthers and, CAY, we saw lots of people utilizing the park. I know for me, when they first put the playground there, I was there all the time. It was just the space. We had the Teen Life Center before we even had the community center. So many of us really grew up in this space. And even if we are not living in Seattle or the Central District right now, a lot of folks still kind of come to that space. It's still a place to congregate. And I'm so glad to know that, cultures will be represented throughout this artwork. You guys have really been moving this forward and keeping community in the know as best you can. It's one of those kind of specialty projects because although it is community driven, it will not be community owned because it's a park, right? Owned by Seattle Parks. So it has some unique qualities and characteristics there. What are some of the things that you're really excited about in terms of your contribution to Garfield Super Block?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing to know is that this is a two-part project. So essentially there will be, like I said, an arts promenade, which features artistic sculptural works from several cultures that settled the land of the Central District. The other part of it is also renovation and restoration of the public areas around the playfield. So we have Site Workshop, which is our landscape architect, who is bringing amazingly great new things to the area around the playfield, including a new playground. We have a new comfort station that'll be going in and a bunch of other really great things, which will allow people of all walks of life, of all ages, to really enjoy the full scope of that area and of that park. Again, the other part of it, of course, is the Arts Promenade. And, you know, the cultural aspect of this project, I think, is really the most important thing, is because we are bringing back several cultures who, again, are responsible for the settlement of the land. And when we talk about that, we're talking about the time period between 1850 and 1970, you know, when the city became what it was. You know, obviously the Black community is a huge part of the Central District, but there are other communities as well: the Jewish, the Italian, Chinese, Japanese, Filipino, Native American, of course. So we're trying to bring all of those people together to really speak to the truth and the history of that land. So I'm really, really looking forward to that.
Well, you know, you and I have talked many times about cultural representation through artwork. And we understand that every artist, in terms of their background, there's a lot of folks that really infuse their own culture and history and tradition into their art form, right?
Sure.
And so it's going to be really interesting to see these artworks take shape, because you guys are diving directly into these communities and artists within those communities to say, look, this is a time to really allow your culture and your tradition to shine, because this is also going to be a space where people can walk through and learn, right?
Exactly.
Learn that story of all of these ethnic cultures that have really settled the Central District to be what it is today. I mean, it's such a, I think it's such a promising, even though promise is in there, but it's such a promising project to reflect tradition and culture. And it's necessary, because we keep seeing so much of it get wiped away in terms of gentrification and all these other things. And we don't have enough opportunities for that history and those ethnicities to be reflected in space.
Exactly.
But you guys are also embarking on a way to really bring new artists into this. Tell us a bit about this new venture that Garfield Superblock is doing for, you know, artists to come in and participate.
For sure. So one of the ways in which we are trying to bring in new culture, new creativity, new talent to this project is our Garfield Superblock Academy that will be happening this month, January 21st and 28th. It is a 2-day intensive featuring panelists and professionals from all over the art sector. And they will be telling you the how-tos of how to prepare to engage in public art in the city. We have presenters from fabricators, people who have experienced the process of grant writing and proposal, you name it. And so it's really going to be a great opportunity for artists of all walks of life, of all talents, of all disciplines, to come and hear and learn and be a part of this project. We have a sign-up sheet that is available now on our website, garfieldsuperblock.org. Sign-up ends January 16th, which is next Monday. So make sure that if you are interested in this project, please make sure that you apply for this opportunity of the Academy. It's going to be a great learning experience, and we are very much looking forward to bringing that art to the neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, this is really necessary too, TDUB. I mean, you've experienced kind of, I won't call them hardships, but it doesn't mean it's not easy to go after some of these public work contracts, right? And ultimately, you know, one of the good things is once you do one, people start to know who you are. Like, right? It doesn't matter how big or small the project is. Ultimately, it's about your integrity really shining through, and then your specific art eye, your creative vision really coming through. And that is what gets people to go, okay, wait a minute. We saw you do this thing over here. I think we need, you know, that kind of creative eye over here. You've really experienced that.
Definitely.
But it never seems like there was like this kind of academy or boot camp even for people to understand the ins and outs of this. When you think about this from your artist perspective, what are some of the top things that you're like, hey, yo, if I could have done this early on in my creative career, you know, it would have helped me, you know, with some of these challenges maybe, or obstacles that you may have faced throughout that process. What are some of those top things for you as you think about how this academy is shaping up?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the biggest things is turning your ideas from an idea into something that's tangible and translatable to different people. Obviously, being an artist, being a creative, you have these moments of enlightenment where you have an idea about a thing, but in order to explain that to somebody who is in a position of power to make that thing come to life. It takes a certain language and it takes a certain understanding. The jargon of art, and especially in the industry, is very different than just speaking about an idea, right? So learning about those types of things is one of the aspects of our academy, and also being able to, again, present professionally in a way that people can understand and really be able to translate your ideas is also very important. Understanding budgeting is also a huge part of it. You know what I mean? Because you have to think about yourself and your needs and your requirements with resource when it comes to just living your everyday life. And then there's also the aspects of fabrication, all of those other parts of making an art thing come to life that really require a different amount of resource. And so understanding that as well is definitely very important. And again, you will learn all of this and more at the Garfield Superblock Academy, January 21st and 28th.
Wow. And so I got to say, this is, for me, I'm so glad to hear that Garfield Superblock is like, you know what, let's also take a step further and really showcase to people what this looks like. That doesn't seem to be in the scope of redesigning the park, but it's so necessary in community. And I really appreciate that you're a part of it, because you're known around these parts in the art world. Like, people are like, man, TW, you do the big projects. So it's great to know that you're like, no, look, I'm telling you, this is where you're going to learn the ins and outs of that. And honestly, maybe they've done something like this before, y'all. So don't quote me on this, but it just feels like that this is the first of its kind to say, let's bring in the experts. Let's really hammer it out for everyone so that they understand the A to Z, which is so important. One thing I want to say before I let you go, we talked about this a while back about artists and creative people in general being able to understand their worth, their value, right? And how to put a price tag on these kinds of opportunities. And so I love that this is happening because it's necessary. Oftentimes in the creative world, you care about the outward vision, right? And you have to understand all these other steps in order to get there. So one more time, TW, look right there. Let them know how they apply. What's the website? Give them all the deets.
Definitely. Again, thank you again, Trae, for having me on the show. The Garfield Superblock project is underway right now. We want to make sure the community knows everything that they can about this project. Please visit our website, garfieldsuperblock.org, for Garfield GSB Academy, as well as other updates with regard to the project as far as budget and fundraising. That we're just also, we have a lot going on. We're about 50% as far as getting to our goal of having the design completed for this project. So make sure you get all that information at our website. We will also be at the Martin Luther King Day rally, tabling there. So make sure you come see us in person and learn all about what we got going on at Garfield.
There it is. TW, always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you.
Let's not be too long next time.
No,
okay?
I know it's been too long.
Yeah,
girl.
I'm ready for art updates, what's going on in the city, all of that. You're always welcome here, of course.
Thank you.
It's your home.
Love
Appreciate you. All right, y'all. After this short break, I get a chance to check in with Gerael Patterson from Rich Bag Members. RBM is in the building, and I'm going to talk to him about all that he's doing in his business, but also all he's doing in community. Stay tuned right after this, y'all. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Prosperity in Black America. What will this require? Is Black business prospering? Are we reaching women and minority-owned businesses? How do we achieve earning parity for wealth for our families? Do our children really have access to education? Will our families have choices for our children? Prison pipelines, mass incarceration, tearing our families apart. A healthcare system not accessible to the masses. The disproportionate termination of Black women from corporate America. When will we actually begin to address what's really at play? How do Black people gain more power to help make these changes? This requires a lot of political will and courage. I'm that provocateur of change. I am Cindy Bright. Welcome to Heartbeat.
COVID-19 hurt my income, my health, and my family. We were about to lose our home when we heard we might be eligible for homeowner assistance funds from the government. We called 1-877-894-HOME, and a housing counselor stepped in, talked to our lender, and saved our home. Federal funding details at washingtonhaf.org. That's washingtonhaf.org.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Joining me right now is Gerael Patterson from Richback Members. RBM, what up?
RBM, what's going on? How you doing?
Hey, I'm great. I know that you've been to the Black Media Matter Studios before, but for my audience or those who may not know, tell them what RBM is all about.
RBM, Rich Bag Members. So, we're a collective of 4 individuals who came together and put our individual businesses together. So it's a collaboration. It's my business, Rich Trillionaire, which is a life coach, transformative thinking. We have Bag, D Blacks, merchandise, and then you have Salsa, which is members only, which I'm wearing now. And he's merchandise. He's merchandise as far as financial literacy. And so we want to come together and really see how we put our brands together and our collective energies and resources together under one house and like rewrite the narrative, show them that, Black men can get together, be successful, and work together with no egos and really provide value. And also, All Pro Go, so, our musical genius, creative director, we all just want to put our collective brain power under one roof and really funnel it to lift the tide.
Well, I'll tell you this much. It is an example that y'all are setting that is so inspiring. It is beyond. We see so much competition when it comes to businesses, and we need more collaboration. So I'm so grateful that y'all exist and that y'all said, you know what, we're going to do this and we're going to be front facing about it in our communities. I've been able to experience you being very intentional and dedicated to community service.
Yes.
So it's almost like you really lead with love. I want to talk to you a bit about, how you stay plugged in and connected to communities, because you're doing events, you're, providing resources, you got turkey dinners, you're just all the things. Like, tell us a bit about that importance in terms of that service model to community.
It was it's really just my mindset in life. I have a mindset of adding value and enriching every space I come into. I lived a lot of early part of my life opposite of that, taking value. And so when I made the mind shift, I just dive in full force. And, I'm of the community and I'm a resource for the community. And so whatever that, I can add, it's just really my life mission is to come in there and add. So, like the community I'm from, I'm a product of the community. Yeah. I learned all my lessons there, especially the central district where I grew up at. So, it means something. It's near and dear. When I come in and provide those resources, me and the team, it's something that we all lacked at one time. I know how it feels, to be without a turkey dinner. I know how it feels to be without a Christmas. I know how it feels not to be the cool guy. So, my thing just personally is to just come in and, show that everybody, can be cool, show that there's a resource that if, you can't get it on your own, that there's people out here that don't mind blessing forward and using their resources to make them everybody's.
Yeah. And, that for me is something I just appreciate about being plugged in within community and, really showcasing that for my sons, because then they get to see it and they get to see a Black man like yourself who's like, look, I'm from here, I'm giving back and I'm happy to give back, right? I'm doing it with joy. I'm doing it with pleasure and, and having grace for my people, connecting with people where they are. When we think about servicing our community, it can't be one-sided, right? It can't be one way. It's not a blanketed statement. You have to customize it for the audience you're looking to serve. And I think too, when you talk about being a part of that community, you know how to do that properly, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm a strong believer in showing up as yourself, your authentic self. And I think that's something that we lack in today's culture, especially, in our community, young Black men. And so like, I just like to show that, hey, listen, I was once like those young Black men, I was literally them on the corner. And so, I resonate with them. We're only going to be as good as all of us, not just the best of us, and not the worst of us, but all of us. And so, showing that as a guy that comes from around that way, who walk the walk, talk the talk, look the look, I show them that, man, anything's possible, that your start, where you start today is not where you're going to finish tomorrow. Yeah. And just embodying that.
Yeah. And it's so important too that folks that come from that exact background are there to really speak to young cats right now that are finding themselves in that predicament. And that really leads me to what you're doing right now with the covenant. I mean, I've just seen you step up. So, I mean, like, I am holding back my emotion because I'm so overwhelmed and inspired at how you just came through and just showed up in that space. Tell us a bit about, obviously losing D Pick, I think, was just heavy for all of us. And it sparked something in so many of us to do something about it. Tell us a bit about how you've been connecting in the covenant space and bringing your love of community into that space.
Like, just to talk about D Pick, long live, the GOAT. That was not only my brother, my friend, my family member. I mean, my motivator, my inspiration. I mean, as he was to motivate, a lot of us. And so, with the covenant, when I heard what it was about, we coming together to solve gun violence, rallying around D Pick and all the great things he left us with. I felt just to, continue in that space. I mean, it's a lot of things that me and him, that's what we are naturally. Me and him, we had many of these conversations just on our lonely. So I felt that the university, God put it in front of me to just say, hey, listen, come serve. And so that's what I did. I just come and showed up and just, like I said, come as myself. And I come to add value. So when I come, I'm not coming to play. I'm gonna come give my all.
Well, I've been able to witness this. And for those of you, I mean, you've heard me talk about it this week because, this is a big opportunity for community to participate, for all of us to unite and really raise our collective consciousness. And y'all will hear me say this over and over again as we look at how to disrupt gun violence. So much of it is that we have to take on the ownership of changing our mindset in community. And this is volunteer every Thursday. We're meeting, and every time you are coming as your authentic self, and you're always providing value to get us to be thinking as a collective when we talk about really approaching these young brothers and sisters that find themselves out here in that predicament. How do we connect with them, right? And you really bring that through.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is connection. I think we sometimes, as the humans, we tend to overthink a lot of things. And I mean, the first thing is connection, right? Like, if we don't know what brings people to their present day, if we don't understand and get a connection and understand who they are and, how they think and what they value, we never truly can get to know them. And without knowing them, we don't know how to be there for them, how to provide value. Yeah, we can have an idea what we think from our perspective, but, that's a very flawed way to think. And so, when you come and just want to connect, I want to connect with those young guys. Like I said, for me, I know what those young guys are going through. I was once those young guys. So when I come, it's just about connecting and seeing their story and seeing where they're coming from and their perspective. And I think as a community, we do more of that. We do more of just connecting. And then the solutions will come. They'll come naturally because you'll be able to have that authentic relationship with somebody. Like, if I come up and just tell you, Trae, all the things you're doing wrong, I don't even know, I don't even know you. Right. I don't have no rapport with you. I haven't ever asked how your day is, what you're going through. That's a very, very way for you to get defensive, and you're not going to be receptive to anything I'm saying. And it's the same thing when we approach these young people, right? We want to get to know what brings them to these corners, what makes them feel that the choices they're making are the choices that they feel are best for them. Mm-hmm. And once we understand that, we can tailor-make our approach.
Yeah. And that for me is exactly why when we said, okay, what could we do? And we came up with, let's really advance a community covenant. Let's really advance a set of principles that allow us to have a foundation for how we even approach those kind of conversations. It starts with building relationship, and then we have to have something that everybody can unify around. That's really what I think the covenant represents, is everybody being able to say, you know what? Yeah, that is how we need to be moving in our community. And you, of course, have brought, the fashion expertise to this group. I mean, when we think about, how fashion really plays a role in culture, particularly in Black communities globally, and we see it influencing American culture, global culture, when it comes to fashion sense, a lot of us, we wear our messages on our clothing. We wear who we are through the clothing we buy, through the messaging that's on there. And so I love what you have done. Just tell us a bit about, your thought process around these hoodies we're going to be wearing on Monday.
I mean, once it's like I say, that connection, I like, once again, back to what I say, I like to show up as my authentic self. And so the hoodies were a design of how we're going to show up as a covenant, as a community. And, we all like to get stylish. I mean, come on, Trae. Come on. No slouch in the style, And so, that's important to us. You want to look good because you want to feel good. You want to feel good. You want to talk good. You want to think good. So with the covenant, I just want to make sure that, when we put it on, we made a statement. We put the hoodies on. We feel good, but also, it resonates. You see, we're drippy.
Yeah.
It's important. It's important to show up, of how you want to project yourself.
Yeah. And I agree 100%. I'm so glad that we as a collective said, we're going to take it to a base level here, and we're going to show up in a way that's empowering and impactful just by all of us having the same, hoodie on. And that's a part of it, because people will be like, what? So I'm so excited that you were able to really move forward with that. You've been our leader in that way, and really bringing your expertise and your authentic self to this realm. I'm excited. Of course, people are going to be able to join us. Let them know the website. How do they sign up? Just let them know what's good.
So for the Covenant, www.covenant.com. That's where you can sign up to be ambassador for the Covenant. We're going to meet at the Martin Luther King rally on the 16th at Garfield. Please come be a part of that. You can check Rich Bag members out, www.richbagmember.com. We have a drop. We have a merch drop coming up next month. Crazy. I'm sure get you your pack right. But big things. This year is all about collaborations, for myself and the team. And I believe that's just the thing we're trying to show the community is, like you touched on it before. Collaboration is important. Like, it's imperative that we look at each other as collaboratory. I want to complete you. I don't want to compete against you. I'm not against anybody. None of us should be against each other, because we're all of each other. We're all a community. So understanding the importance of collaborating. And so that's the whole message that, me and the company that we're setting out for this year.
Well, y'all are doing a great job of it, my brother. Thank you so much for making time in your busy schedule to join me this morning. This is really, I'm just so grateful to be building a relationship with you authentically as ourselves, and also as a collective. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you for reaching out.
Absolutely.
Thank you for Black media.
Yeah, that's right. We're out here. All right, you guys, I get to wrap up all of this amazing wonderfulness on this Wednesday right after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Prosperity in Black America. What will this require? Is Black business prospering? Are we reaching women and minority-owned businesses? How do we achieve earning parity for wealth for our families? Do our children really have access to education? Will our families have choices for our children? Prison pipelines, mass incarceration, tearing our families apart. A healthcare system not accessible to the masses. The disproportionate termination of Black women from corporate America. When will we actually begin to address what's really at play? How do Black people gain more power to help make these changes? This requires a lot of political will and courage. I'm that provocateur of change. I am Cindy Bright. Welcome to Heartbeat.
Will you marry me, baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's put this on you.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Trae Holiday. We're bringing back Black Love When We Met. That's right. We need something to warm all of our hearts and to elevate love once again in our communities. We want y'all to go to whereweconverge.com/Black Love so y'all can nominate your favorite couple for the next rendition of this show with me as the host. Let me sit down and have them on my couch and share how their love can inspire us all. Make sure y'all go and get your nominations in today, and be on the lookout for Black Love When We Met coming at you on Converge Media very soon. Welcome back, everybody, to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. What a great episode today. I want to thank all of you for staying tuned with us. And of course, I want to thank my guest, Brian Callanan, for giving us a great update. Make sure you check him out tonight on Seattle News, Views, and Brews right here on Converge Media at 7 p.m. Also, huge shout out to my girl, Takiyah TDUB Ward, doing big things with Garfield Superblock. Make sure y'all check out garfieldsuperblock.org. Sign your young artists up. If you're a new artist who's not young, it's all good. If you are looking to understand the fundamentals of public art works and how you can participate, how you can go after these amazing opportunities, please sign up for the Garfield Superblock Art Academy. Make sure you guys check that out. And as she said, they will be there on MLK Day on Monday with their booth with more information. If you want to connect with someone, the deadline is Monday. So get those applications in now for their academy. These intensive 2 days are going to be so impactful for you as an artist as you think about maybe taking your artistry to the next level and making sure that the city is benefiting from your amazing talent. So please check that out. Also, make sure you guys tap in with my guy, Gerael Patterson, Ridgebag members, ridgebagmembers.com. He said they're going to have some new exclusive drip dropping real soon. So you guys want to make sure you guys tune in and tap in with him there. And if you're looking to become an ambassador of the covenant, it means that you are willing to be an example of living these principles, these we statements that you can see right there on the website, the-covenant.org. Check it out. Sign up to be an ambassador. Show us that you did sign up as an ambassador on Monday and get a free hoodie. Or you can sign up right there with us and we'll make sure you get that hoodie until supplies last. We want to make a statement with all of you being a part of this. This is not just for one particular subset of community. It's for all of us to really engage with each other, unite with each other, and uplift each other and protect each other. So please, tap in there as well. For me, of course, I was inspired by TDUB and Gerael being right here. And I'm always every Wednesday inspired by Brian Callanan for doing their part, right? If all of us are doing our part, we make the world a better place. Be inspired to see yourself as a part of the solution. And for me, until tomorrow at 11 a.m., y'all, peace. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.